Greetings, lore seekers, and welcome back to another episode of the Lost Archives. That's right, more Star Wars Legends lore. So today I'm going to be talking about Sith Battlelords. Essentially, these were a creation of the Sith Lord Darth Revan. Yes, Darth Revan, not Darth Revan. It's a mispronunciation of his name. That the Sith Lord who took the name thought, I'm going to honour Darth Revan, but the text he had was corrupted, so it said Revan, not Revan. Now, he created this primarily due to high amounts of desertion in the Sith army itself by regular troops and some Force users. And this was causing a particular problem in their wars against the Republic. So, in order to compensate for this, they started to develop a commander. A commander that, if his troops weren't around, would experience great pain and suffering until they returned to the side of their leader and would continue to carry out his commands. And they spent many years experimenting with this until eventually they produced the Sith Battlelord. And so, in order to create these chosen individuals, they would first select a member of the army who was extremely loyal to Darth Revan and the resurgent Sith. They would then undergo a complex series of rituals involving both Sith magic and Sith alchemy in order to bond them to his troops via the Force. But the way in which this ritual worked as well, it required them from being sliced open from neck to stem, having their blood leak out all over the floor, and then their troops would be forced to parade through around where their leader was, trampling in the blood. This would have a certain effect where it would create a sort of force bond between him and his troops, though not the typical force bond that usually develops between master and student, or through life-preserving techniques as seen in the KOTOR video games. So the troops would continue to parade around the body of their nearly lifeless leader for about an hour, after which the leader would somehow be regenerated and would then have this permanent force bond between them and their troops. Now, during this process, you cannot use any manipulations with the Force or medical intervention to preserve the life of the Battlelord. If you did, the ritual would fail. So it's not exactly a ritual that the most faint-hearted of individuals would take up, or those who wish to preserve their life at all costs. It would require an individual whose loyalty was to the Sith, regardless of the risks to their own lives. Not a situation that many Sith or Sith Lords would want to take, considering they are, wanting to increase their own power. Though this would be a risk, it would greatly increase the standing within the Sith army as well, so you can see why, despite the risk, to some it would be a reasonable risk. As far as, getting cut up and bonded to your troops would be. The effects on the armies of the Sith and their battles with the New Republic, and specifically the Jedi Order, was nearly instantaneous, bringing greater cohesion to the Sith armies, able to deal with the Jedi and the New Republic quite easily, and for a time threatened to turn the balance of the war in the Sith's favour. Unfortunately, all of the Sith Battlelords were eventually wiped out by a force storm generated by an ancient Sith artifact known as the Dark Staff. Now, this particular weapon also can drain the essences of Force users, and if you were to bring this particular weapon into the ritual area when you're trying to create a Sith Battlelord, it wouldn't create a Battlelord, it would instead strip the Force essences from everyone involved in the ritual. Not something you want to particularly do. Considering this was also the very weapon that brought the downfall of the Battlelords, I have no idea why the Sith did and abandoned it, considering it was no longer serving their will. But that will be another lore video later, as the shenanigans of the Dark Staff cause a lot of problems for people in the pre-fall of the Republic and also the Clone Wars, so we'll get to that another time. So, with any great technique, there is always a weakness, and the particular weakness for the Sith Battlelords was themselves. While they were controlling their troops and directing them on the battlefield, there would be a greater cohesion and effectiveness for said armies. If the Battlelord was killed, it would remove the force bond between him and his subordinates. This would also have a demoralising effect, as the armies would realise they are no longer compelled to do what they say, and would cause a rout on the battlefield. Something that the opposing armies of the Sith would capitalise on greatly. However, for the bonded soldier, what would be the effects that they would experience if they were to stray from their Battlelord? Well, initially, depending on the strength of the ritual, they could move between 5 to 12 kilometres from their Battlelord before they start experiencing any negative side effects. This would start with severe abdominal pain and cause mind-splitting headaches that would eventually become full-blown migraines, and that would go on for the next 12 hours. If they didn't return to their Battlelord within that 12-hour period, they would be dead. So it's quite a good motivator for your troops. Not something that's ethical at all, but this is the Sith we're talking about. They didn't generally give a damn about ethics, unless it came to themselves. Another notable downside to the bonded troops as well is that the Battlelord could even augment his own abilities by drawing on the life forces and energies of his bonded troops. This would greatly enhance the Battlelord's force abilities, temporarily, but leave his soldiers dazed. So, if he's in a pitch and he's surrounded by a bunch of Jedi and he can't get out, well, I'll sacrifice my troops one way or the other, and I will get out and live to fight another day. I can always be rebonded to troops later. Though, to be fair, while you could rebond yourself to new troops, you'd have to repeat the same ritual again and again. Not something you'd want to repeatedly risk. Now, the Jedi did eventually develop a countermeasure to the Sith Battlelord as well, but it remains to be seen what limited effect it could actually be useful in, as the majority of the Battlelords were already dead by the time they were using it practically, and the Sith had then discontinued the practice of creating Battlelords, seeing as it was too costly at the time in their point in the war. The force power the Jedi used in conjunction to interrupt the Battlelords was a Force Light power known as Force Light. What it would do is it would break the force bonds between the Battlelord and his followers. Something that probably also motivated the Sith to stop using Battlelords and would look to more conventional means of controlling and directing their troops. Perhaps they could have used commissars of a sort. But hey, that would also depend on them believing in some higher purpose. I suppose the Sith Order itself could have been that higher purpose, and Sith-like commissars would have been an option. But that's just speculation. As always, you will find my sources listed in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, perhaps consider sharing it around, maybe leaving a like, maybe a comment, maybe we can get discussion going. I hope you all take care, and I hope to see you all in the next episode of The Lost Archives. And always keep in mind that the multiverse is full of darkness and the unknown.
And a little more knowledge might light our way.